Improving as a beginner is probably actually one of the easiest things that I've done. I know that it might look like a too much of a weird claim because I may be stuck as a beginner as well. And just to note, this video is for beginners. But what we can do is to train on very specific things. Okay, as a beginner, if you're right here at 700, okay, and somewhere here, to basically elevate your elo a lot higher. Right, and so this is something that we can do. I'm by no means an expert or a master or anywhere at these levels, but I can still talk from my own experience doing these things myself, okay, and how I got out of a plateau, for example. And so this video is specifically like made for beginners and to basically create sort of like a system for learning chess, all right, and so that you could like have an easier time improving, kind of similar to like a workout or a study plan. Actually, if you're, for example, and just let me say before we get in, you will need to do some writing in this video. So if, let's say, for example, you are eating when watching this video or things like this, you may want to watch this video, and then when you're done eating or doing something else, okay, come back to this video, okay, this time with a paper and a pen or a pencil, okay, to also write. Right, and so this is one thing that we need to know. And so what I want to actually do is I want to start with what I think is probably the most important thing if you're a beginner right now. Okay, and that is if you blunder, we want to figure out a way to basically stop doing blunders, noticing them and cutting them completely. You're probably in the stage where you're making a move, and immediately after this you realize that this is a blunder. We want to stop this type of thing completely and to yeet it out of our games. All right, and so if, for example, we're taking a look into here, let's say in here, okay, it's clear, okay, white is threatening a bishop, okay, to take, and there's this threat as well, and black actually made a stupid blunder, okay, and black castled in here. It's a blunder, okay, but again, this is the problem that black had in this game, okay, and so now white won the game immediately after this, right? And so if you have blunders basically that are like this, okay, we need to stop them completely first, okay, and then to actually figure different ways to improve, right? And well, I've added now the paper down below, okay, for the workout plan. Okay, so the first thing that we can add, okay, if this is the problem, okay, and the main reason that you're now stuck at improving, what we can do is we can add doing hanging pieces puzzles. And so if there's this feature on chess.com, for example, where you're going to do custom puzzles and doing puzzles specifically of hanging pieces, okay, so that you wouldn't like make mistakes like this one, all right? This game, by the way, was played by 2/1000s, okay? And so this is to show that this is still a problem that happens for beginners. And in order to actually improve, okay, at the game, we need to first of all cut this completely. And so that is the first thing, okay? Because we just want to stop the blunders, okay? And we want to be warming up and ready to stop them when they will happen in our own games. And so now, let's say, for example, if you're a beginner, what are the topics that most beginner needs to focus on? Okay, they need to focus on openings. This is usually what we have, all right? And so now let me show you how I studied openings so far. And I will admit, because I'm using a chess book actually to do these things, okay? But let me show you now how I studied an opening, okay? So first of all, I studied the first 10 moves, okay? And the main ideas of the opening, okay? And I'm going to show you this right here. And the ideas that we have for later on, like for the middle game as well. Okay, and so let me show now the Italian. I learned the first 10 moves by memory, so I know by memory what to do if they're doing this move. I know also by memory what to do to do basically if they do this move, okay? And it's the same plan either way, by the way, okay? If they do this, I will do c3. It stops the knight from developing, but the idea is to do d4, okay? The knight is going to be developed into g3 later on for the middle game. And so that is the first thing. The knight will, if the knight comes here to threaten the pawn, exact same thing. Okay, we're gonna do d3, okay, and then c3. Okay, so it's pretty much the same thing. So let me now just quickly show you a line. Okay, so c3 here. Usually they're gonna do like something like this. Okay, knight to f6. Okay, I do here. They usually castle here. I castle as well. Okay, and again I know to develop the bishop here. Let's say I castle for a moment. Okay, and they do d6 usually. So I castle, okay, they do d6. Usually this is what happens, okay? I want to now move the knight here, the rook here, the knight there and here. Okay, so let's say for a moment I do this, but then they come with something that can also happen. There's usually an idea of a6. Why is a6 an idea? Okay, because you want to do here. Okay, so effectively what they want to do is they want to put the knight here, okay, and to take the bishop, right? I will never by any means want to trade this bishop ever in the Italian, in the Guccio piano. This is the line that we have here, okay? And so what I do is I immediately do this. If for example, instead, what they will do first is the move here. So for example, this can also happen. So if they do this, for example, okay, I do actually this. You will never by any means in this specific opening want to trade a bishop, all right? And so this is just like a quick thing. So we learned the first 10 moves, okay, and we learned the ideas of this opening. Okay, so let me just move a little bit back. Now, let's say for a moment that they actually do a6, okay, I do this, bishop to b3, they usually move the rook, and you're doing the exact same thing, okay, and you want to move your bishop here. Okay, so let's say for a moment that they do the best engine move, okay, they do bishop to e6, and so like we learned the first 10 moves, okay, and so the rook, let's say, comes here, let's say for a moment that they also do this move, okay, to move the knight here, which isn't precisely the best move, obviously, like you can see it from the bar, but I'm just showing you like the lines that I'm going to do. So I do this, let's say for a moment that they do, the computer really suggests bishop to a7, okay, I have my idea of knight to g3. And so like I remember these 10 moves, okay, by memory. This is the first thing. Now, the second thing is we learn like main ideas, okay? So for example, why do we never want to trade the bishop like we've just stated? So now we can write this as well. So so for studying opening, okay, and there is also another topic that we want to study specifically because no beginner so far studies this the topic, okay? And so we're gonna also talk about it pretty soon. But okay, so studying opening, okay, and so that is the first 10 moves, okay? Main ideas, main middle game plan, right? So there's 3 things, okay, and this is what we have for openings. And what I will heavily suggest is for you, okay, is do not look for any short video actually about it, okay? What I will suggest you to do is to look for a video which has a lot of information in it. It can be a book, okay, it can be a video like a 1 hour long video about the opening, but specifically a video which is very, very long, okay, and full of information. Because if you're learning an opening, okay, what we want to do is we want to get extremely good at it. That gives us an advantage in this opening versus our opponent. And so I've just added like this, okay, from a book or from a very long video, okay? We do not want, there's all of these like short videos about how to about specific openings. We do not want to look for these videos, okay? It's very hard to also remember from these videos, okay? We want specifically from a very long form content. Now, if you're a beginner, okay, these are like the main topics that you hear about, okay? Tactics, openings, and obviously like avoiding blunders, okay? But there is another topic, okay, which no beginner is learning. And why is this? Because they're just not aware that this topic exists in chess, and this is the sort of like positional understanding topic. And I will say that this is actually a secret weapon that you can have against these people. And so this can actually be like some form of a secret weapon that you have against them, because you can think about it like every piece of information is kind of like a weapon that you have in your arsenal, okay, in your brain. And so this topic, okay, beginners just never really learn, okay, they never studied because they just do not know that this topic exists, okay? And this is the topic of positional understanding. It's called imbalances, okay? So imbalances, an imbalance is basically like an advantage or a disadvantage that you have in any given example. In this example, if you count, both sides are completely equal in material, and still white is better, okay? And there are many reasons for this. So let's take a look, for example, in here for the imbalances that make white actually a lot better. So first of all, take a look at the fact that white has a lot of central space and queenside space. This area is mostly controlled by white, which gives him actually quite some strong advantage. The second thing is that he has knights that are a lot stronger, okay? okay? If you compare this to the knights of black, they're like really cramped up in here. Like this knight cannot move. The only like possible moves that they have is like to go back and to control less space, okay, which is obviously like not the best thing in the world. As well as for this knight, again, okay, this knight as well cannot really do much. He can only move like to the sides and back, which means that the knights that white has are a lot better than the knights that black has, okay? The rook is on a semi-open file because there is a pawn here, but still he's on a semi-open file. We've managed to like count already like 4 minor advantages that are in white's favor in comparison to black, okay? A lot of central and queenside space. He has a lot of better knights, and the rook is on a semi-open file. This is what an imbalance is. It's basically like minor advantages that you gain in a given situation. And so what I think you can do is go here and add, okay, to imbalance. You obviously do not need to watch like a 1 hour video like all at the same time. Like you can watch like 20 minutes of a one hour video and then move to here, but it's more important that these videos are just filled with information for you to actually learn from. So again, we can here say imbalance study like for 30 minutes. I would say that this can be your secret weapon against most beginner players and most intermediate players. And so now what we can do is we can start doing puzzles, okay? And this is actually like quite short, okay? But what I will say is for doing puzzles, do the same number all the time. Do not do today 5 puzzles and tomorrow do like 30 puzzles. You want the number to be as consistent as possible, okay? Because what then if that is going to do is it's going to make it a lot easier for you to just think, okay, when should I now jump to actually play versus actual players, okay? And so here, let's say 20 puzzles, okay? 20 puzzles is what I go for, okay? But you can do for example 10, you can do 5, okay? If you're a beginner right now, I would say actually the best number is 10. Not too much, but not too little at the same time. Plus, these puzzles, they kind of act as a way to study tactics, but they also act as a way to warm up for actual games. And so now actually we would say is the time to learn like to play versus real players, anywhere that you feel comfortable with, okay? But this is, we can say, a good workout plan. And what I will say is for the real games, okay, best if you do it like with 30 minutes time control, so like not 10 minutes, okay, but 30 minutes. That is going to make it a lot easier for you to play because it just kills the time pressure that you have, okay? And so you can actually like think, okay, for a lot longer, and you can also like practice there, for example, the imbalances that we have learned in here, okay? So this is one thing, okay? And better even if you are immediately after the game, you are making a game analysis and review, okay? And so 30 minutes, okay, we will stay here. 30 minutes and 6, okay, would just simply be to review the games. And so this has been a short breakdown of a workout plan. Alright, and so that's it for today's video. If you have any questions, well, leave them down below, okay? And if you want for more content like this and for more like information that a lot of channels, they usually won't talk much about, okay? And you can consider leaving a subscribe, alright? And I will see you in the next video. Bye.